Welcome to the morning after CFFL Week 8 edition on the CFFL Network on YouTube. Here today, I'm back along with our co-host, who's usually doing investigative reporting. She'll be with us today, so we're going to try a little something different. Our cameraman Glenn is right down here too, so you might hear from him if he's got anything to chip in, which I'm sure he does. So we'll get right to the action from this week, Week 8 of the CFFL as we wind down. Only a couple weeks left. Week 8 saw the Sasquatches in a big game take down the Bone Storm 65-54. Sasquatches led by their running backs this week. Adrian Peterson, Reggie Bush, and D'Angelo Williams combined for 29 points. Bone Storm, surprise, surprise, were led by Peyton Manning with 24. And it was the upset of the week as the Bone Storm were favored by 27 points. Sasquatches pick up the win, though, moved to 5-3. Bone Storm, right now, if the playoffs would start, fell out of the playoffs. Kongs take down the Badgers 70-41. Kongs moved to 7-1, best record in the league and the second best points. The Kongs led by Frank Gore, who's been a big story this year and a big part of their success, 15 points. Eddie Lacy led the Badgers with 10. Badgers struggling with injuries, but we'll see. They could still turn it around and end up with a respectable year. Cardinals take down Team LBM in a battle of teams that had a lot of byes going on, 77-56, although most teams did have a lot of byes. Not just us. Matt Stafford, 21 points, leading the Cardinals, although it's the one rare occasion where 21 points from a quarterback wasn't enough, as Dalton actually had 27 on the bench for them. Team LBM, led by Megatron, 24 points, just dominating out there this week. Those two kind of balanced each other out, and it was enough for the Cardinals to move to 6-2 as they head to their big showdown this coming week. We also saw the Horn Dogs get back in the win columns. They win 68-39 over the Dingoes, who suffered their sixth straight loss. Cam Newton had 20 points. Wes Welker had 10 for the Dingoes. They'll try to get back on track next week and avoid 7 straight losses. The Donkeys fall to the Garbage Men 71-41. The Garbage Men even their record at 500 and would move into the playoffs if they started now. Drew Brees, 27 points, another big week. Tony Romo had 16. Wasn't enough, though. Garbage Men pick up the win. Finally this week, we saw the Bruisers take down the Gargoyles 83-71. The Gargoyles had a pretty good week considering they had a lot of players on bye again. Colin Kaepernick finally had his big week for the Gargoyles, but it wasn't enough. Jordy Nelson had a huge night for the Bruisers as they ended up picking up the win. I think Mason Crosby was also on that team, and that was enough to kind of carry him, take the lead back from the Gargoyles, and pick up a win. Bruisers moved to 5-3 and tied for the division lead. So, Emma, what do you think about the week that was in the CFFL? Well, you couldn't even contain yourself yesterday. It was just too much. It was a lot of excitement, you're right. A big week. I know you can't wait for this week up, see what happens. But you're wondering, as I was, who is the player of the week? And for the first time in the show, we have a player who's not on the team. Marvin Jones, the free agent, 122 points, 4 touchdowns, 31 points. Ridiculous week for Marvin Jones. I know this, and Sunday morning when I was looking at Jimmy Graham being out, he was one of the guys I considered, but Jimmy Graham played. So that's that. And Scott also said he was thinking about signing him this week. That was. Probably other people have too. So I'm guessing he'll be a hot target this week, as it's not just a one-week fluke. He's been pretty productive so far. Walk of shame this week, the Dingoes running backs. Not to pile on, but the Dingoes, who've now lost 6 in a row, but Steven Jackson and Darren Sproles combined for 0 points. Steven Jackson was really unimpressive in his return with 11 carries and 6 yards. But to make matters worse for the Dingoes, on their bench, Jacquizz Rodgers and Chris Ivory also combined for 0 points. Not a real good week at all for the Dingoes, but week 9 is a new week, and maybe can turn it around. And the Yo-Bitch top free agent pickup, we kind of talked about him earlier, Marvin Jones. He's out there. I'm sure he'll be the guy. Now we're going to hit Griff's Gripes. And Griff's Gripes, you seem to have heard this one before. The Rams called Brett Favre to see if he was interested in coming back to the NFL. Don't they know that when Favre says he's retired, he means it? That is, unless you fly the team jet down a kiln with all the star players to beg him to come back. The old gunslinger isn't going to come back with just a phone call. You're right, Griff. He does need to be wined and dined like a little princess that he is. If you don't treat him right, I mean, if you don't wine him and dine him, you know, you gotta treat him well. He's a lady. He deserves the best. Next up, let's take a look at the weekend trades. This week, nothing happened. Just a reminder, November 13th, I'm sorry, is the trade deadline. So we're fastly approaching that. Quickly approaching that. Fastly, not a word. Next week, we do have a couple big games. The 7-1 Kongs take on the 6-2 Cardinals, the number 1 and the number 2 seeds currently. And also another big game, and the Sasquatches take on Team LBM, 5-3 versus 5-3. So a couple huge games this week coming up in Week 9. This week, and our big feature that we're doing, I kind of looked at the best and worst draft picks for each team, so we'll hit that. And really, when I do look at it, it's not just the best overall pick. It might have been the best pick per round. So if you're like, well, I really took this guy in the first round, he was great. Well, he was a first-round pick, so he should have been good. Or vice versa. If he was bad, maybe there was a guy who was worse who was in the 15th round, but he was a 15th rounder. So choose to comment on it and say you're stupid for that, or that was right on. So let's take a look at what we have. Best and worst picks, Fighting Sasquatches. I thought the best pick, Reggie Bush, top 3 running back in the 3rd round. Ended up really good value there. Worst pick, probably Miles Austin. He's had 5 points so far. He was taken in the 6th round. Fights his Badgers, best pick, Sean Moreno, a top 5 running back in the 9th round. It was a very good pick. He ended up, parlaying him into Torrey Smith, who has struggled since he got him on the team, but still a good pick, very good pick for the Badgers. Worst pick, hard to do this. Shane Vereen, he went on IR after Week 1. He's on there till Week 11. He's since been cut. Really, an injury is hard to say, but still is a 5th round pick, and he didn't get anything out of him. Scott's Horn Dogs, best pick, Marshawn Lynch, number 2 running back at pick 3. A lot of Scott's players have been really solid, but nobody else jumped out, really. Worst pick, David Wilson. He's the number 62 running back in round 3. One thing I should comment on, and I know you're commenting on it right now, those ratings are as of after Week 7. So if you notice, well, he's the number 58 running back. Well, I didn't update it last night. The cameraman had a long night out celebrating. He's a big Red Sox fan, unfortunately, their win. So we didn't get to update those numbers this morning. Back to the look at the best and worst picks. Bernie's Bruisers, best pick, Jordy Nelson. He's the number 8 receiver, and he was taken in the 4th round. Worst pick, CJ Spiller, number 38 running back at the 4th overall pick. Still might turn around, and his injuries have kind of derailed his year. Chet's Garbage Men, Fred Jackson, number 8 running back in the 9th round. Tremendous value. Also had a look at Jamal Charles, who was the 5th pick, and he's been the number 1 running back. But I ended up going with Fred Jackson. Marcus Colston was the worst pick. He's had 0 points since Week 4, and he was a 4th round pick. Myself, Jimmy Graham, number 1 wide receiver / tight end, and I got him in the 3rd round. Even when he's hurt, he still scores touchdowns. He played I think he caught 3 passes, and he had 2 touchdowns this week. Worst pick so far, Trent Richardson. He's been the number 29 running back, and he was taken in round 1 as the 5th pick. Hopefully, turns things around now that the bye week has occurred, and he's had some time to learn the system. Dino's Black Dingoes, Wes Welker, the number 1 receiver, and he took him in round 4. Worst pick, Steven Jackson, round 2, and he's missed 4 games, and he's really been not productive in a lot of his other games. Bone Storm, best pick, Peyton Manning in the 4th round. Don't need to say much more than that. Top fantasy player this year. Worst pick, Roddy White, 3rd rounder. He's at 4 points in the year. I know. DK's Klongs, best pick, Frank Gore, who everyone always writes off every year. Number 7 running back in round 3. Worst pick, I know, Vic Ballard. I know you were really mad that he didn't come around this year. 7th rounder, only played 1 game before he went on IR. And finally, for us, the little big men. Alshon Jeffrey, the best pick, number 13 receiver, and he got him in the 8th round. Worst pick was Monty Ball, number 72 running back, is a 3rd round pick, but it looks like he might start to get some more carries. Griff's Gargoyles, best pick in my opinion, Josh Gordon, who was the number 23 receiver in round 9. Those numbers are skewed a little because he did miss the first 2 games, so probably even a little better than that. Worst pick, Bryce Brown, who was the number 77 running back, and he was taken in the 7th round. Finally, Dan's Donkeys, Matt Forte, best pick, number 4 running back so far, and he was taken in the 2nd round. And his worst pick was the guy taken 1 pick before him, Maurice Jones-Drew, who's the number 31 running back in the 1st round. Show went a little long today. You had a lot to say about that last segment, so hope you liked it. We'll move on to Week 9 this week as we finish up our last 2 non-division games this weekend next. we get ready for the playoffs. So good luck to everyone except DK. You're going down this week, and good luck to the U. See everybody next week.